No, sir. No, sir. No, I gotta study this live, y'all. I gotta study this live. Because, natives, we always gotta restore. Yeah, we gotta restore sense to stuff and stuff like that because, America is built off lies. You know what I'm saying? Let me go. Put some sauce in my room for y'all and stuff like that. Sauce in the room and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Sauce it up a little bit. But yeah, we gonna study this live because we gotta think about why what we got the US government, right? They still here. So they've been here since they crash landed in the 1600s or whatever. So we got the US government and things, and we got what's popular in the US government and what they be talking about, right? So a lot of the shit that they be talking about and shit is Israel, right? They talk about Israel and Palestine and fucking Jews and all of that type of shit, right? That's what they talk about. So that gotta be studied, right? We gotta understand from our standpoint, because if you from America, you might not get it, you might not understand, especially if you don't got no native ancestors or no native history, you know what I'm saying, to remind you of what the fuck been going down, you know what I'm saying, type shit. So this gonna be a live stream, live study, for real, you know what I'm saying? So pretty much, we're gonna break it all the way down and shit like that and understand what the fucking Jews is. Because to my understanding, the Jews or whatnot, they never had no religion. You know what I'm saying? They never had no they religion was to flee from what they later wrote down is the first testament of the Bible. And it's just me using common sense, right? It's just me using common sense because I don't want to, I don't know. I just got to use common sense first before I get into books and stuff like that. So, the Jews came over here, right? Let's see. What's the first early account of the Jews? We're gonna figure that out. So the first account of Jewish in America, right? Boom. Okay. So the first history of contact between Jewish and Native Americans is complex and linked to European colonization of the Americas. So they came over here based upon the Americans, basically, setting up, right? They came over here, the Jews came over here based upon the Americans setting up. Now they didn't say they're pilgrims, but they low-key is. But they'll try to tell you that they're not pilgrims. And pilgrims is basically somebody that's on a religious expedition type shit. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't say they're not pilgrims, but they low-key is. But we're gonna get into that though. So the Holocaust was in the 1900s, right? So we gotta see what is all of this hate for Jews and shit like that and why, right? And it's just off common sense, okay? Early individuals arrived with explore. Early Jewish immigrants came to the New World as a part of European expeditions and settlements. For example, Louis de Torres, a Jewish convert to Catholicism, accompanied Christopher Columbus in 1492. Now, Christopher Columbus ain't a real person. It's just an expedition mission You know what I'm saying? And their way to um, kind of cover up their mission, and it was the way of them explaining what they was doing to the British because they was gaining power based upon um, um, just being over here and being on the land and it being already fruitful and being trade and everything over here already. You know what I'm saying? So the Jews they didn't have no culture. Their culture was escaping Muslim. So it wasn't no it what and not even Muslim. Let me not say that, but they'll tell you that. But it was really escaping everything that was done in the First Testament based upon the regime and what was coming together as the government back then. So that would be like the Semitic language, right? Because Hebrew is a Semitic language, right? Let's do it. Let me see. Let's see. Right, y'all see this, right? So Jews and Hebrew have a deep historical cultural relationship rooted in religion, language, and identity. Right. So historical context that Judaism, the religion of the Jewish people, has its origin near East, and all of their religion was fleeing from um, the, the regime. You know what I'm saying? Which was the government over there, where they was colonizing everything that they came together with these countries right here. That's why it's a Semitic language, Semitic, right? So it's a language um, relating to the people who speak languages, especially Hebrew and Hebrew, related to or denoting a family of languages, including Hebrew, Aramaic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician, Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of Afro-Asiatic family. So this is like Asians, Arabs, like all of that shit, all of them mixed up in one language, which means that they was already colonized. And it said Afro-Asiatic, so that means Africans too, to a certain extent. So they was already colonized, basically. It serves as a uniting factor for Jewish identity, especially after the Hebrew as a spoken language in the 19th and 20th century. So there you go. It unite the Jewish people. Now the Jewish even tell you they not like no ethnicity or whatever. So when we get to what Jewish, the first contact, let me finish all these too so I can just stay on track. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get back over here. So, because y'all need to know like what's going on, and I gotta show y'all because this is what this whole back and forth. It ain't nothing but about upholding government and shit like that, and upholding America, kind of, and the Jews found a way to do that by taking the native India, the India, the native Indian ways. All right, we're gonna get into that though. All right, cultural significance. Hebrew is essential to Jewish religious practice, including prayer, scripture, reading. The language is a key element of Jewish education. Whatever. Okay, so even now, even when you go into Native Americans speaking Hebrew, let me see if they bring it up right. No, they. Uh, Let me see. On Native Americans. Uh, Rich relationships. So basically, the Jews, right? They came over here early America, like with Chris. Obviously, they was a part of the Christopher Columbus. Now, Jews ain't like no type of. They just they're just their own philosophers of how to get out of the regime of the Great Britain shit. You know what I'm saying? Which colonized, used all of the language, Afro-Asiatic. You know what I'm saying? So that's like some of the darker um, Asians and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And even the Arabs, the darker Arabs, they like Asian low key. You get what I'm saying? Like some of them are Asian. Like when you get to like India, them is Asians and stuff like that. So mixed and shit like that with Arab, but it was already conquered. So when they came over here and shit like that, you will see that the first accounts was with this some dude named what's his name? Dang, some with an M or whatever. And this dude basically wrote a whole book on how he believed that natives was descendants of Israel. Now, when you read this book, it ain't even gonna be it's a book. Uh, I forgot who believed natives were descendant of Israel, Native Americans. I gotta put that too. So some good things about AI and shit like that is just the information part where y'all can use it accordingly and shit. But we got to get this down. Damn, I got to get that motherfucker's name. Macadamia. It's something with an M. Macadamia. I want to say Macadamia or something like that. Oh, Mordecai. That's his name. Okay, yeah. So Abraham. So these is the niggas. This is the nigga that wrote that concept. When we talk about like all the Abrahamic God and shit like that, this is that person's interpretation type shit. This is a group of them really, but Mordecai's belief about the Native American reflects a complex interplay of cultural respect and critique of colonial attitudes, right? Mordecai often acknowledged the rich traditions of histories of Native American tribes. He emphasizes important understanding and respect of indigenous. Give me 1 second. I'm being called. Yeah, but okay, this is what I'm looking for. Mordecai married a Creek woman, believing the Native Americans were descended of one of the fabled lost tribes of Israel. And when they say lost tribes of Israel and shit like that, that's them. They're the lost tribes of Israel. So because they got displaced, right, from their homeland, and then they came over here and they saw that was happening through us. I mean, with us, that's why they thought that. That's why they said, "Oh, y'all the lost tribes of Israel too," and shit like that. Y'all descendants. So this is part of them kind of forcing us to believe that, forcing us to get forcing that on people. You know what I'm saying? And um and also a bunch of copying. It's a bunch of copying. You know what I'm saying when it comes to how they did it. Now, what they copied though, in their context, is just how we did the spiritual system and shit like that. And it's all in a book. It's all in this book too, right here. Because this dude wrote a book about Native Americans being, or no, it wasn't him. It was this dude, right? It was this dude, James Adair. And he was his predecessor type shit. So really the whole thing overall, like not liking the Jews and whatnot, is really like a reverse psychology thing of protecting that America kind of came up with, of how to protect them being here. And you got the people that's against it, like the people that be like Christ is king and fuck the Jews and stuff like that. Those are the individuals that they know what's going on too. They know what's going on too. So it's all like some weird reverse psychology thing going on. Like it get deep, like far as like how deep they went with it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really that deep, but how deep they went with it, yeah. That shit is deep. That shit is deep. But yeah, so when we get to you know, when we get to the this guy, this book, in this book, this dude, like you would start to see he when he talking about Native Americans, he's talking about like how they were compared to the Hebrews and stuff like that. And he's taken some of the characteristics of rebellion towards the government, right? And he's putting it in a situation like these are qualities of theirs that they had, but since the Native Americans share the same quality as far as like just living free, this is them taking it, stealing it, copying it, and then finding a way in government to rule us. Rule this. This is why Israel run over here, and Jews and those people are in power and things of that nature. It's not even a thing. It's like a business move at this point. If you get what I'm saying, it's like a business tactic. It's not even a real. It's to get people excited and things of that nature and keep people lost type shit. You gotta see it though. You gotta see it. You gotta see it. You gotta see it though. Okay. You gotta see it though. Let me see. Let me try. So yeah, that's what's going down with that one, and shit get deep. Shit get deep because I'm here like I'm like, what is all this Jewish talk? Like, what is it? What is it? Like, I have to really think, like, what is all this Jewish hate and stuff like that and whatever. And then when I look at the only spiritual system that correlate close to the Jewish people is is more of the Native Americans. Now you can go in history and look and Google that, and they have actual Jewish people that actually was going and learning from, you know, Native Americans, specifically what they called at the time Creek, which is just a mixture of a bunch of the southeast Native Americans, right? And that's like Florida, Louisiana, and Georgia, and all of that shit. So you got that mix of people, right? And you learning their ways. You a settler, you know what I'm saying? This is before it get negative. So this is, you know, then them still over here, you know, learning from us, learning our trade, doing us fighting each other and shit like that, right? Us fighting each other and shit like that, going back and forth, and then, you know, sometimes creating peace with some of these individuals, because you know we dealing with the French, we dealing with Britain, we dealing with England and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? We dealing with Spain and shit, you know what I'm saying? So at first we just got the people that the powers that want to expand, you know, Spain and shit like that. And then when they get over here and shit, you see the growth of their independence and shit. And this is what makes the Americans, aka the people that don't never want to go home because they like the way we do shit over here. Boom. Now they didn't find a way to gain power and whatever. You know what I'm saying? They didn't find a way to gain power on our land, and now they got some viability in trade, and they got ways to bring other people, immigration over here, and help build the situation up, right? So you got that. You got them helping build the situation up based upon them bringing Arabs and all of them people that was named and shit like that. And then, you know, willing to go to war now for their independence and shit like that. But they don't know how to run a government. They still don't know how to do that. So they're just trying to get away. You know what I'm saying? They just trying to get away with what they like doing and shit like that. Their desires. They just trying to get their desires. So they go to America. They don't know how to run the people, but they can find a way to infiltrate and shit like that, and downsize based upon getting help from Great Britain and how they did it when taking over their power type shit. You get what I'm saying? But you got other motherfuckers in certain families that want to be rich too. You know what I'm saying? So they not just trying to be up under nobody regimes. Other people that's trying to gain power too, aka what we now call, you know what I'm saying, the Jews. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Like, you get what I'm saying? So the Jews, when you get to these books that they write and shit like that, as far as like the ones by James Adair and stuff, when you read them, they're gonna make it's written to you like it's them explaining how we're similar to the Jews. I mean to the Hebrews, or whatever. But they're the Hebrews. You get what I'm saying? Like they were the Hebrews from over there, type shit. You know, so and the Hebrews is the natures that got persecuted over on that land matters. You know what I'm saying? So so this is them having our spiritual system and being able to pick out how they can do that better now because they got some assistance from some Native Americans. Meanwhile, Native Americans not really knowing this is going on. We just trading. You know what I'm saying? We think we're building a better economy. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? And you know, getting more peaceful and shit like that. Ain't gotta, you know, And then here we have it today, where it's now the concept of is them taking back their land or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's weird, man. I'll just tell you, bro. Like they went so deep with this shit. They went so deep with that shit, though. You know, but this shit crazy. So you know, that's the thing. So really it's a reverse psychology trick on y'all saying to hate y'all own way of governing things. Because this is the land of the free. Y'all not under the one God concept, aka it's still Native Americans here, and we don't necessarily subscribe to Christianity and Jesus Christ, which is their regime basically at the time. You know what I'm saying? Their government. So get into, you know, get into our spiritual system and stuff like that. That's them looking at us negative and thinking we got more than one God. That's them with the jealous God. That's the First Testament, right? And they tell you they say the First Testament was written in Hebrew, right? What is that? That's them being persecuted or them trying to find a way out of. Then two, they'll tell you the Second Testament was written in Greek, right? Now, this is when we get to the Greek. And now you get the stories of Jesus, because Jesus sacrificed himself so y'all can live, aka the shed blood of a Native American, now that they can have a liberation. You get what I'm saying? It's like that. So when they want y'all to participate in the cursing of the Jewish people thing, is more so of a reverse psychology. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and things, you know, you got more Jewish people in the U.S. than Israel right now. I think that population is higher here than in Israel. So that's why they be like, oh, Jews run everything, and you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. But it's like a condemnation of how Native Americans was able to do that. But at the same time, protecting their way of doing it. If you get what I mean, like, yo, man, that shit is crazy, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be able to have eyes and see shit to hear. Damn. I feel like I'm lagging. I'm lagging? Am I lagging? They were prepared. We're gonna wait till they get back. Oh, it look like it. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, but so you know what I'm saying? So the American it's a fake hate. Like it's a fake hate. Because it's like it ain't a real hate. Like it's just something for them to keep y'all occupied. I'm just using common sense. I'm just using common sense. So it seems like on a more possible scale, you know, the Holocaust, you know what I'm saying, could be like potentially manufactured a little bit based upon if the shit, what I'm saying, no, not even if the shit, but the shit that I'm saying, it leans more to that possibility, because the first people that got slaughtered like that and things of that nature was Native Americans. So basically, the New Testament of the Bible is them updating how they do government, basically, and stuff like that, and sacrificing the Native Americans to that point and shit. So that's what it is. And I can't see it no way different. You know what I'm saying? Now, if y'all got any comments or y'all want to add on, you know what I'm saying, or anybody comment, they want to jump in, talk about this shit, we can get it. But, you know what I'm saying? That's my study. Like, that's my study. It's that simple. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. So, a lot of these names, like Jews and stuff like that, remember, they always got the speculative version of it, and they always got the operative version. Like if you cybersecurity, you may get hired to do cybersecurity and be the operative version, aka do the 1, 2, 3 tax dollars circumstance mathematical precision that they came up with for it to make sense for Americans to pay their tax money to fund that, right? Then you got the other part where they're online actually monitoring the behavior, and they're getting paid to do that based upon what they making from that money type shit. You get what I'm saying? So you always got two. So even in like you always got to think about it in that context. So even with these words and stuff like that, like Jews and stuff like that, these are things that that has two meanings, dual meanings, dual meanings. The Jews didn't necessarily have no spiritual system, so their only spiritual system was getting the fuck away, trying to find salvation based upon them needing the great expedition. You know what I'm saying? Based upon them going on the white man's burden. You know what I'm saying? Thing. So they didn't necessarily have no spiritual system and things. So their spiritual system became taking over our spiritual system, and which is our government and things, how we run, what we got faith in, and whatever. So now you got other whites that's teaching you to hate that and whatever. And it's gonna reverse psychology trick you, because it's gonna make you fight for that, because it's more of your own, what you want is more your own nature and freedom to be not within the Christianity deal and the serving like you under the Pope and shit like that. And you gotta, you know what I'm saying? That type of shit, serving that type of master. So it's not, now they go deep with it. They go deep with it. So everybody that's telling you to hate the Jews, they're a psyop. I'm saying they're a psyop. I already know that. They are whole starting point is a psyop. So back to the dude, Jade Adair, Adar, and shit like that. That might not even been a real person, but for the most part, it may have been a concept of marrying Native American ways. So when they say like he married a Native American woman, remember, woman means emotions and feelings. So you have feelings of the Native American and shit like that. And so this could be a whole test study of them trying to create some type of situation. Like it could be a whole test study You know what I'm saying? When you see these certain names in history, that they're like operations. You know what I'm saying? They're not necessarily people. You know what I'm saying? George Washington is an operation. You know what I'm saying? You wash away government. Masonry. Christopher Columbus was an operation. You know what I'm saying? It's an operation. You gotta look at it like that. Cheap water pail. You know what I'm saying? Water purification. But yeah, so you gotta look at that. So this is why um, the Jews now uh, they had to teach Greek over there. Let me see. Hold on, I'm busy. Give me one moment. Can we get ice cream? Not till I'm finished. Huh? Not until I'm finished. All right, let me see. Screen. Let's go to it. All right. A teaching of Greek amongst Jewish communities primarily arises from historical culture and practical reasons during the Hellenistic and Roman periods. After Alexander the Great's conquest, Greek culturally spread. Wow. Okay, so let's look up what is his conquest? What is Alexander the Great's conquest? Let's look that up. So we know them spreading the Greek language. It's them spreading the Greek ways of the Greek nations that they was taking over on America and colonizing. Okay, Alexander the Great, which is basically colonizing it. All of the see, this is them trying to make their own way in government. Like this is them trying to create a story that's good enough for it to be powerful enough to get more money and get their own independence and make Great Britain more money and make them power. You get what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah. So Alexander the Great, that's not even a real person. You gotta think like these is the people that same people now today that control the media that make spy movies, that make with the yeah, I'm spying shit. That shit only comes from people invading other people and trying to get the drop on people. You get what I'm saying? He conquers Egypt and whatever. So this is so when they saying he conquered Egypt, this is them seeing from their perspective on how the pitfalls that they went through, similar as the Native Americans, and this is them pulling them together and saying, okay, when they saying he conquered Egypt, this is a nature that conquered Egypt that we have a better way to deal with based upon the Native American Alexander the Great and him bringing that Greece, which is basically their stealing and shit like that over there and calling it theirs and shit like that. Like this shit get deep. Like you gotta know your history. You gotta know your history. You gotta know your history or you'll be lost. So, yeah. So that's why they say the second version part of the Bible was written in Greek. The New Testament was written in Greek because it was written in observation of the Creek tribe, the Creek Native American tribes, and how to deal with our natures more and become more civilized, where we ain't gotta cut people heads off like we did in the New Testament. And because y'all went on this conquest and brought us this liberation concept and shit like that, y'all have a piece in history, or y'all can have a piece of the pie and things. But we can't make it look like y'all just stole for real. So we gotta we gotta make it look like y'all was going through the Native Americans situation too, and then that's when you get hit. So when you got Kanye and shit up here, Kanye lost. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. He don't know what the fuck he is talking about. Like you got, that's what I'm saying. You can say we are real Jews, but how are you the real Jews? You get what I'm saying? How is that? How can you make that make sense? It ain't no they came over here with no religion and stuff like that. No, they was trying to escape government. They learned spirituality and shit we was doing over here, independence over here type shit. You know what I'm saying? Then they spread that gospel. So that's why you got them going, um, you know what I'm saying? Them spreading that concept more in Europe and shit like that. And Christianity more in Europe and shit like that. After they colonized here. Get that first and learn from here. That we were the only people that wasn't a part of that shit that wasn't going. And we still ain't. We still here today. We still have some of our, you know what I'm saying, uh, ways. Because it's just in the natures, but it ain't gonna go nowhere. So all this hate Israel and shit, Israel, Palestine and shit like that, that shit just to cause confusion. To cause confusion. Because Muslim and shit like that, what the Palestinians preach is basically a old version of what they was accustomed to. So they didn't want to do that no more. And shit like that. They didn't want to do that. So with the Pope and shit like that, man, it's just history is distorted, bro. You know what I'm saying? History is very distorted, way distorted. But yeah, that's all you see. So really, that what's his name? What I call him earlier, Macedonia. What's his name? I want to keep saying Macadamia. Mordecai Emmanuel Noah and shit like that. This is why they got these names. These is the people that wrote the Bible. Wrote the Bible. It got a lot of y'all principles and shit like that, but it's to their like, and a lot of the Native Americans helped them write this because this was them helping them get their on their ass a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And help them get their spiritual system together and learning from us and stuff like that. So this is why we resonate with the Bible and shit like that, because we helped them do it. But it's not necessarily our book, though. That's their book and shit like that. And it got the history in it. and shit. Um, yeah, but the dude Mordecai, you know what I'm saying? He was, he was born in Philly and shit like that. New York. These are people at that time. They trying to learn how to get get better at what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And trying to make sure, okay, we got this shit busting, we got America busting, but if we don't necessarily get control, then Europe can attack us one day and take over our shit. If they want to get, what if they want to? Now you get now you see where we at. Now you see why America hold their position and shit like that. Bring foreigners over here to help maintain power of their country in the whole scope of the land. You know, now you see why. It is what it is. Now you see why Donald Trump shaking the French president and all weird and shit. You know what I'm saying? They act, it's like a secret competition. It's like now you see you get what I'm saying? They had to gain independence, but for the most part, they had to have help. And who helped them was the Native Americans and shit like that. Specifically, the Chata, um, the Cherokee. Well, it's not even called these, but the Chata for sure. The Sioux. Um, yeah, they really helped them get their spiritual game in order. You know what I'm saying? When they came down south, and that's why a lot of people in the Midwest and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that is just more into the spirituality. You know what I'm saying? In New York, that's why it's from all the way from, from the southeastern to the motherfucking north and shit like that. West, y'all spiritual, but it's a little different though. It's a little different. It's a little different. It's more so in the way y'all move and shit like that. You know what I'm saying too. That could be because it's like close to that Jupiter energy. Over here it's more thoughtful, it's more Mercury and shit. But yeah, so um that's motherfucking study, bro. So we know now, like the whole hate the Jews shit, just a reverse psychology. So it's like I can't do nothing with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't really fight for Israel. I can't even really take Palestine because it all look like a situation of y'all just kind of replaying something to remind us of how y'all established order and shit like that. So a lot of this shit that be getting blown up, it be playing and shit like that. It be like they be planning this shit ahead. Shit, like I'm telling you, like, this shit is like a anniversary thing. Like, yeah, some people get sacrificed, you know what I'm saying? Some people sometimes the shit is made up. Sometimes it's a screenplay on the motherfucker. But if you just an American and shit like that, and you not even American, but if you just a New Worldian, shit like that, and you on our soil, and you looking up things to these things, and you like, what the fuck is these white people talking about? I'll tell you, like, real shit. Even if you white, you know what I'm saying? You be like, what the fuck is these white people talking about? And stuff. You might have to go to a mosque or something for them to tell you their version of it to keep you a version of an American citizen and shit like that. But this is what I'm talking about for sure. Hey. This is what I'm talking about. Mashallah. Yeah, mashallah. I gotta get the curls. I gotta get the curls. Yeah, so that's what it is, man. It gotta be that. Like I don't see it no other way and shit like that because anything they be talking about like pre past 400 AD prehistoric, that shit is an imagination land. You know what I'm saying? That shit imagination realm. That was shit that they was telling us and shit like that based upon them acting like that. So that was shit that they convinced themselves, oh, we is one of y'all and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then it get like this. Some of them came over here genuine trying to be with us and shit like that and actually mingle with some of us. But you got some parts of the shit where the the people that was mingling when they was gaining power and trading with us, it was the motherfuckers that wasn't doing that getting jealous. So now they want in on it too, and shit like that. They want in on our trades and shit like that as well, and stuff like oh, letting you not go too far with that shit and get them power. You know what I'm saying? We still remember it's about us. You know what I'm saying? It's about Britain. It's about Europe. Don't give these natives shit. You know what I'm saying? Still remember that. And that's when you got the creation of, you know what I'm saying, Jews and stuff like that. And that's why Judaism is the most, uh, is the one that we got and shit like that. Then you got them spreading it all over and creating different versions of it and concepts and shit like that based upon colonization. Okay? So this is a concept that has to be studied. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got a lot of white people in y'all area screaming about this shit. Y'all need to know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And don't let them make them be accounted for and stuff like that. As far as what you know, what happened for real and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chief Warhorse because even she was saying like, you know, when she brought Homeboy up there. Shout out to Homeboy that was up there. He was talking about um, heritage and shit like that. Yeah, let them claim their heritage and shit. Even the white natives and shit like that. Let them be true to that. You know what I'm saying? Let them know what's going down. Let them let us let them let us know what's going down. So that's the conspiracy. That's the study. What I'm saying, I just put that together right there. There's more I can go even deeper into, but that's just the surface level and shit like that. I can't make you, you know, you gotta drink yourself and shit like that. Bring it to the water and shit. But so that's what it is. So it's a hate. We is That's how white people think though. Is why white people think. It's a we hate it, but we love what we did. Hate is wrong what we did, but we love what we did, and that's why even Jews, uh, they got the lion. So it's about lying and shit like that. It's about the lion of the Jew. Leo energy lies and shit like that. Creativity, how to lie. I'm saying, I'm telling you, bro. You know, but these are things we got to know so we can be more impact in the spiritual world. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? You only rich as your land, your resources, and your motherfucking culture and shit like that. So think about how rich America is now and things of that nature. And think about if you was allowed to trade like that, like how you wanted to, and add on to you how you wanted to, you'd probably be rich as fuck right now. You know what I'm saying? Based upon this being your land and stuff like that. But that got taken over. Now that don't take the energy of the away. The land is still the land. You still you. You still got richness. That's why it ain't in you I mean, that's why I ain't on you is in you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I ain't on you is in you and shit like that. That's why we got these creative gifts and stuff. That we part of the land. So we got the imagination of the land. They don't have that. They coming from a different angle and they have to capitalize off it in every way. In every way. Now this is from Native American context, and I got Chata in my blood. I ain't even Chata. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is that whole little psyop and shit like that. So yeah, but when you are as rich as your land and your culture and things, and you don't see that going your way, right? You may jump into the world and try to participate, being birthed upon under assimilation. You might try to participate like a regular civilian and things of that nature that ain't part of what happened in that assimilation cycle and shit like that. And they're more so on the colonizing end. So their parents might be foreigners or whatever, etc. So you may try to participate, and then that whole system may go against you, and you may, because you're so creative or whatever, because you have gifts and things, but because of your mind, you may think you start doing something wrong and stuff like that. And this leads you into negative shit, doing negative habits, you know what I'm saying? Negative moods, negative emotions, because you unaware of what's going on, but you just here trying to participate like everybody else, but you're not really seeing it from Earth perspective. You're seeing it from what the colonizer taught you in school perspective type shit. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, and then whatever culture you came on, imagination is y'all friends got, and that's kind of what leads to creativity. But when we see that going into business, it don't be prospering based upon what that reality is. And the reality is that they run shit, and when they only want to see shit on their screens and shit like that, and on their motherfucking you know what I'm saying, platforms and shit that look like it's benefiting them. That's been a play from the beginning in their narrative. You know what I'm saying? So always keep that in mind too. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's important for the average individual because, when you don't have no culture, you have your mind on distractions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Things that not dealing with natural, and you trading and you being amongst the land and you learning to the highest capacity. No, you actually in a small box that they created for you and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're learning from that perspective and shit. And when you in boxes and shit like that, when you in trap and you're doing the same thing and things, it leads to negative habits. You know what I'm saying? Think of anytime you're doing the same thing for something too long and shit like that, you're gonna want to escape. And one of your escapes, you know what I'm saying, just may be a negative situation that you may land yourself in jail or in harm's way, or you know what I'm saying, type shit. Because it could look like anything. It could look like drugs, money, and the shit that they place in the community for you to escape in a negative way. So it's important for you to kind of break that box and that molding and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And it don't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? The Indian way, we don't teach that, you know what I'm saying? But we teach you gotta follow the cycle and shit like that. And you gotta do you know what I'm saying, you gotta work with nature to do that. You know what I'm saying? And the natures, we got many natures. We got higher natures and we got lower natures. We got natures of the mind and shit like that. We got natures of the physical. And if we're not operating in both of them natures and shit like that the correct way and shit, you know what I'm saying, it could lead to detriment. You know what I'm saying? So first mentally, and then you get that adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? What's on your mind become your adrenaline, and now it leads to, you know what I'm saying, certain areas and, certain actions and shit like that. So if you're depressed and shit like that, you're gonna create a depressed mind state. If you don't have nothing on your mind where you can find a way to be free and shit like that, you're gonna keep creating that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna keep creating that. You know, and we don't teach death as Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? We teach life, birth. You know what I'm saying? The spirit, expansion. You know, individuality. So it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday battle because you are in the middle of assimilation. They're constantly bringing uh, others over here, foreigners over here, Indians over here. You picking up motherfucking phone, you can't. Hello, can I help you? Can I help? You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? That why your family members can't do that? Now and then we see the disproportion of this shit and where it takes people. It ain't that, you know what I'm saying, it's that y'all just dumb or some Darwin theory or something like that. No, it's that motherfuckers manipulated the shit to be where it is. It's like, hey, it ain't that you dumb, you can't find a job and shit. No, it's manipulated for foreigners. You know what I'm saying? It ain't for the natural people. And that's what the fuck gotta change. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, this is important, you know, for your spirit and stuff like that, because you may not think like everybody else. You know, you may not have. You may still be native here. You know, so you still may have these thoughts and shit like that, similar thoughts about that. But even if you hear on some level, you know what I'm saying, you already kind of assimilated into the culture because it's our culture. You know what I'm saying? They already said we had fucking, you know what I'm saying, cities and shit like that. Way we did things, traveling by waters, mounds, you know what I'm saying, building qualities, you know, good fashion, you know what I'm saying, motherfucking knitting, motherfucking great agriculture, you know, teaching people how to wash their ass. Native Americans did all of that. That's what you living on. You go somewhere else, it's different. That's why, because it ain't that. Now it's been manipulated a little bit, and we had to settle, you know what I'm saying, with these individuals that came over here, but you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. And shit like that. But we still gonna know the motherfucking truth at the end of the day. Still gonna know the motherfucking truth. Mm-hmm. Still gonna know the motherfucking truth. But yeah, so these are the things that you need to understand when that's why it's hard to pay attention to it. Because like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? We done. Like it ain't don't really work no more. Like it don't really work. Like people got too much common sense now. You know what I'm saying? The internet sold the common sense of once Jupiter going into Cancer now. Jupiter, we got common sense. Common sense, so what up? You say you had all that time to have common sense. Now Jupiter in Cancer. And so, okay, now we comfortable. We comfortable with what's common. We know what's common. In the home, though, in the family, not just watching from a penthouse somewhere. You ain't never been boots on the ground or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Watching from a college or a cancel or something like that. Like, you know? So we got to get things right, man. I was saying for this new shift and stuff like that. And things. So just everything online is fake. Just stay away from shit fake online. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from it. Stay away from fake woke, fake podcasters, fake people. They all just bored and they hitting algorithms that's already in set for y'all to watch. You know? So they're just trying to create the new version of TV in an online way. and shit like that. But they need y'all to do it though, and shit. You know what I'm saying? They need y'all to believe it. They need y'all to participate. So you gotta be your decision. Which one you gonna do? Which one you gonna do? You gonna be in La La Land? You know what I'm saying? This is them hating, man. They just hate. They just hating on the spiritual system, plagiarizing it. You know what I'm saying? Let me show y'all. So even Jehovah, all in that book, that 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 Native American book by James Adar or whatever. Um, no, man, this ain't the one. I gotta find the book. I gotta find the book. Let me see. Read online. Not bad, but I mean, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? We got all our stuff to go through the process. We gotta be strong with going through the process. This okay, yeah, all right. Let's look at the religious shit. Look, this is an old map where Georgia wasn't even on here. Mississippi was West Florida and shit like that. West Florida wasn't even on there and shit like that. And my people's right from here type shit. But yeah, let's keep going on. Religious, the worship of Jehovah. Boom. Let's go here. 16. So this is him arguing that we came from the Jews. This is them basically trying to fight for us in government to have our concept instated, basically. So it's not him really trying to prove American Indians were descendants from the Jews. It was them trying to find a way to fashion the government over here. And Jews was their savior concept. And if you was a Hebrew or what they call it, what would Kendrick say? The some night, I forgot it. It's some whatever. Okay, but yeah. So this is basically them going into while our spirituality was similar as theirs and shit like that. But this is not them having no spiritual system. This is them been observing us for years, adapting our government, but then presenting it to their government and shit like that in ways where they think the government could be better and shit like that. And then they accepted it and shit, and now you got today where Jews are empowered and stuff like that, and they know how to deal with it. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, I'm trying to find some. I probably butchered that, but all right. Um, yeah, Judaism believes in a singular, all-powerful God, Yahweh. Ain't that's Native American? That's it right there. And that's our God. So it's not them having similar God. It's them stealing the shit. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. So we had Yahweh too. Yahweh. It's associated with the name Yahweh. Yeah. Y'all get it? Y'all get it now? Y'all get it? Now, what's the difference between Jews and Christians? Because that's who don't like the Jews, right? The Christians, right? All right, Judaism emphasizes the one God, the importance of following the Torah and the covenant between the God and the Jewish people. Okay, so basically that's just our God in their way, but basically that everybody got their own God, basically, from a Native American perspective and shit like that. I bet you if you break it down in their situation, it's gonna be the same thing. Now, Christianity believes in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the divinity of Jesus, which is basically the story of how um, the story of being saved from your lower nature and of salvation through Jesus Christ, which later just transformed into them taking that concept too, and salvation through Jesus Christ is basically just salvation through colonizing. That's basically what they're saying. It's salvation through colonizing. Because Jesus Christ is the Native American, basically, that they sacrificed for you to have eternal life, not in your ways, but their worldview. You get what I'm saying? Now you can live. Now you can have life. That's what they say. So, when you hear, like I said, so when you hear a Christian saying "fuck a Jew" and shit like that, it's they both the same people. It's both the same people. It's just they're replaying how they got liberated over here. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. And shit like that. So Catholics, that kind of who represent the Christianity and the Orthodox version of Christianity, the Catholic Church, we don't say, right? Or some in some way. But yeah, they believe in the Father, which is the first thought. You know what I'm saying? They believe in the what they did, what that your father is gonna make the decision and shit like that, and their decision was to colonize. The son is um, them becoming aware of what they doing and shit like that, and uh, aka through the Native Americans. So they got to be the sacrifice, and then the Holy Spirit is basically the spookism around. Um, it's the spookism around what the natives believe that we was always gonna come back, type shit. So that's why the Christians believe in that. These are the real Christians. I ain't talking about the fake Christians and your grandma Christianity or nothing like that. I'm saying I'm talking about this Christian. Um, they believe in that. You know what I'm saying? And the salvation is through Jesus Christ, is through colonization. So those are the Americans and shit like that. The Judaism people and shit like that is just a different version of them that was trying to escape from the religious situation, and they fucked with the Native American ways and shit. So they got their own little version of how to create that. They got their own little version of how to create that liberation. They represent the whole liberation from your concept. And so Christianity, basically Great Britain, all of the empire and all of that over there and colonization. Judaism, basically the Americans getting to America and taking over. One more time. Christianity, Great Britain and Spain and the regime and all of them. Judaism, them coming to America, some of them don't know. The ones that escaped from that system into America learned the native ways and um, started to fight for it based upon them having power and shit like that. So that's it. That's what we get into. But yeah, this has been a great stream, W stream and things. So I appreciate everybody for coming out and watching it. Very insightful thing, especially when y'all want to understand, why is there such a hate on Israel and stuff, and what is going on over there, and it's just all confusing. It's just like y'all just leaving so many people confused. It's like y'all don't got no sense. It's like we starting to believe that they don't got no sense. So I don't know. But when it comes to y'all getting involved and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, and the tribes and shit like that, we gotta make sure we good and things. You know what I'm saying? GSA, GSNA, I'm saying my Grand Star Nation Association and shit. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you copy a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Yeah, I can't find it right now. But anyway, we just tired of our tax dollars going towards bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We don't want our tax dollars to go towards bullshit. There's other things tax can be spent on instead of y'all trying to cover up a lot. You know what I'm saying? People already know the truth. Like people already know, you know what I'm saying, y'all colonizing and things. So it's just like I don't know. It's just they don't want to let us in on it. They just don't want to let us in on it. But that gotta be studied. Like, cause why is you entitled to something that you're not even from, that ain't even yours? So, when we get to entitlement and things, you gotta, when you get to a title person, you gotta do defense. And
I can't get my ice cream. When you throw it, it's scrambled up. When you throw the ice cream on me, it comes up.
Yeah, or you not getting nothing.
No.
He about to throw a fit. But yeah, so either we see it for what it is, whatever, or it just look weird. It just look like, I don't know. It just look like people just want to do whatever they want to do. But it looked like you hiding it, but it looked like, I don't know. I don't want to figure it out. I don't want to figure it out. But yeah, man, it's been a great live stream, W stream. I appreciate y'all. I'm Kelsey for the spirit coach. He even shape and form for the age of Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? And then that's why I can claim that Zeus energy, because that's really come from Greek and shit, but which is Creek knowledge from the Muskogean Creek, which is Chata and shit like that. The Chata tribes and shit where I'm from. That's my motherfucking knowledge. Get your ass in